is a little show called Johnny Test. If you've never heard of Johnny Test, boy aren't you lucky. Johnny Test was basically everywhere. For me, it was everywhere on Cartoon Network. It was like the SpongeBob on Nickelodeon. It was played almost 6 hours a day, and it's all really that Cartoon Network had before Steven Universe and Uncle Grandpa and Adventure Time, and all these other shows that seem to be better than Johnny Test. Johnny Test was about an 11-year-old boy with flaming hair named Johnny Test, and he had two 13-year-old twin sisters named Susan and Mary who were both scientists. Johnny doesn't necessarily have a human best friend, but rather a talking dog. His pet dog that his sisters made talk with an experiment they did. They also live with their parents, a mother who works all the time, and a dad who has an obsession of meatloaf. And they live in the fictional town of Pork Belly. In the show, Johnny is seen as a typical 11-year-old boy who is obviously negative about a lot of things like school and girls, and doesn't really do much because, again, he's an 11-year-old boy and he's very lazy. All he wants to do is just chill in his room, play video games, and do what 11-year-old boys do. And when a problem comes up, he usually sneaks into his sister's lab or is always a test subject for his sisters and uses one of their gadgets to fix his problem, which ultimately backfires, leading him into fighting a villain or facing off a problem and eventually saving the day before the family all sits down and has dinner at 5 o'clock. Now, this interpretation that I am giving you about this show may seem like that I hate Johnny Test. Not necessarily. Johnny Test is a good show for a specific age group. If you are an 11-year-old boy and kind of go through what Johnny goes through, then it's a perfect show for you. Now, obviously in the real world, we don't have talking dogs, we don't face off villains on a daily basis, but it is somewhat a good show, I guess some people can relate to, because at the age of 11, you are starting to become careless. You just want to play video games. You want to hang out with your friends. You don't want to go to school. You don't want to do chores. So it is very relatable, this character, to a lot of 11-year-old boys. And it could also be inspiring for young girls to open a passion up to be scientists like his twin sisters. They are very intelligent, so it may open up a new field for girls, to go into science and stuff. So I don't necessarily hate Johnny Test, I just am really aggravated about it. There's a difference. You could hate a show like I hate Teen Titans Go. You could love a show like I love Steven Universe. A show like this aggravates me. The thing that aggravates me about Johnny Test are not much of the characters, even though the characters do play a big part, but more aligned the stories and the way they are structured. The best show I can compare Johnny Test to is the Disney Channel cartoon Phineas and Ferb. How could we forget about Phineas and Ferb? All those cliche things that they need to do in every episode, like, Phineas goes, "Hey, what should we do today?" And then Perry, it's like, "Oh, where's Perry?" And then Phineas gets an idea, "Hey, I know what we're gonna do today." And the friends come over, "Hey, whoa, what you doing?" and stuff. And then the platypus goes to the agent guy every day, and he fights off the villain who has a stupid backstory and stuff. And then, it's like, "Oh, curses Perry." And then the sister always tries to bust, and the guys do their building thing, and then the mom is like, "No, I don't believe you," and then the evil guy's thing takes the thing away, and it's just the same thing every day. That's what Johnny Test is. That is all Johnny Test is. So in every episode of Johnny Test, like I have already stated, it will start out with Johnny having a problem, or just him being extremely lazy, or him being a test subject for his sisters. Then, if he's a test subject, a problem will happen. which will lead him into using this gadget for himself, getting the sisters mad, and not listening to his talking dog, Dookie, who is very intelligent and wise enough to tell him not to do this and instead do something else. Johnny, of course, doesn't listen, goes doing this little thing, causing mayhem and a problem and stuff, and then the sisters get involved, they have to fix it, they get mad, the parents find out about it, and the dad wants everything fixed before 5 o'clock so they can all enjoy the meatloaf that he made because he's obsessed with the meatloaf, and they end up fighting people, and everything kind of gets fixed, but sometimes at the end of the episode, actually not sometimes, all the time at the end of the episode, something will obviously go wrong and backfire, and it will lead into a resolving story off screen out of the show because the 11 minutes will be up. That is what happens in every episode. Now, the thing with these kind of shows, when they do this sort of thing, it's cute the first 20 times, and in this show's case, 50, because this show had some good episodes in the early seasons. I want to say maybe like the first 2 seasons I got involved with. But after that, it just got really boring and really annoying to watch and just irritated me to death. I don't hate any majority episode, but if I had to pick out, it would definitely be the racing episodes. And the only reason I say that is because the racing episodes are an example on what not to do when getting other characters involved in an episode. So Johnny, his sisters, and his dog are obviously going to do a race for something, and then out of nowhere, all these other recurring characters will come out of nowhere and just decide to race. Some of the villains will come out and decide to be like, hey, I'm going to destroy you, Johnny Test. And then another villain will be like, I'm going to destroy you. And it's like they all planned to do this on the exact same day. And then the government will come in like, Susan, Mary, we need your help and stuff. And the mayor will come in, it's like, hey, we need this, or some other character. Basically, a lot of characters will come in for stupid reasons and then just be like, oh, you're having a race, I want to join in. That is how they get characters involved with these episodes, and that is the most pathetic and most stupidest way on doing it. It was funny the first couple of times, but it's not funny when you do it like for a 5th time. They did racing episodes in almost every season, maybe twice. And if you noticed as I rambled about these racing episodes, I'm pretty sure you heard the word government and mayor. That is because government agents and the mayor and even the general of the government and army are all best friends with the Test family. Not because, there's a family blood or anything. It's because of the sisters. I don't know how exactly it happened, but I guess because some little mishaps between Susan and Mary's gadgets caused the government to get involved, and I guess that made them best friends and stuff. I have no idea, but this 11-year-old boy knows the government, and it just doesn't make sense. So that's another reason why Johnny Test annoys me, but let's also get into the villains of this show, because there are villains. There are some villains in this show that all try to kill this 11-year-old boy. So we have the richest kid in the world named Bling Bling, who has a crush on Susan Test, and of course Susan doesn't like him. So she sends Johnny out to destroy him and get rid of him forever. And Susan has absolutely no problem with him dying. And I guess like the whole Test family also just does not like Bling Bling and thinks he's very ugly. So whenever one of his plans work, they try to stop him from just having a happy life. There's also an evil cat whose name I can't really remember, who also has a butler, and the cat was made by Susan and Mary's technology to bring Dookie to start talking. So now the cat talks, and he tries to turn everybody into cats and hates Johnny. There's also a villain based off of Darth Vader. And there's a freeze guy, and it's just really messed up. The show is very weird. Now, I've already talked about the episodes that have got on my nerve, like the racing episodes. I just hate the racing episodes. But there are other episodes that kind of match up with each other, including the episodes where Johnny is a superhero. His sisters gave Johnny superpowers at one point, and now whenever he puts on a suit, he gets those powers. And Dookie is his sidekick, and they just go off fighting villains. That's something. And what's a cartoon without episodes that are spoofing other shows? They have done so many spoofs on other cartoons. They've made episode parodies about Scooby-Doo, Tom and Jerry, and what's so interesting about all these shows that they spoof is that they know they're spoofing it because Johnny always says the exact same thing at least 4 times that episode. He's like, I think I've seen this somewhere before, you know? It's like, some episodes will just involve one of Susan and Mary's experiments going horribly wrong and having Johnny to fix them. Some episodes include Susan and Mary trying to get Gil, the boy next door. What kind of name is Gil? They are madly in love with Gil because he's the hot neighbor next door who is also extremely dumb, shockingly. So they try to get him to love them, and it backfires a lot. There are episodes where Johnny just doesn't want to do things revolving school. It's just a big headache show that started off good, but it's just now very irritating. Now, again, like I mentioned, it was like the SpongeBob on Nickelodeon. It went on for a long time, and recently, last week, I looked up and found out Johnny Test is canceled. It was canceled on Christmas Day of 2015, so I guess that's a little Christmas present for the creator of the show. And thank Jesus, because that show is getting so old. That's my little ramble about Johnny Test. I just thought of talking about this specific show. And that was my little review on it as well. It's irritating. It's an irritating show. So that's what I think about Johnny Test. Now I want to hear what you guys think. Have you ever seen Johnny Test? Do you like Johnny Test? And if you've never seen Johnny Test, would you think you'd be interested in seeing it after watching this video of me talking about how much Johnny Test irritates me? Do you agree or disagree with anything I said in this video? Tell me in the comments and also leave me your suggestions for whatever movie, TV show, or random thing you want me to talk about next. Thanks for watching The Wild Review. I'm The Wild Reviewer, and you just saw me review a thing.